Welcome back to another episode of No Sympathy for Kings, a rich man's podcast. I am your host, Ian, and here I have a very special guest. Not necessarily new to my platforms, but new to this iteration of the platform.
Yeah.
The one and only Rebere Sparks.
I appreciate that, bro. What's up, man?
What's up?
How you?
I'm great, man. So happy to be doing this with you today.
Yeah, man. I want to shout you out, man. You actually are extremely inspiring, bro. You actually are the reason that Katie and I actually started Blendish. And I want to say I appreciate you. I remember you. I actually got on your podcast before. This was the one prior, Cigar Talk that sent you to revamp this bad boy.
Right.
They're both dope, you know what I mean?
Thank you.
Your setup, man, this is live, man. So I want to congratulate you and tell you again, thank you, bro, for having me on the show.
Hey, man, thanks for coming. I always appreciate your participation and your eagerness to participate, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I see you got your size back, man.
A little bit, bro. You know what, man? I actually gained some unhealthy weight.
Really?
Yeah, man. And so now I'm in the process of trying to just get back in shape for real. You know what I mean? I can pretty much only do legs. You know, I had surgery on my shoulder.
Right.
So I tore my bicep long head tendon and my labrum. Mm-hmm. So I finally got the surgery. It's been bothering me really since 2014. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a surgery back in 2014 on my labrum. At least they thought it was my labrum. So it was frayed. They cut the fraying out. Mm-hmm. And then they said everything was good, but it ended up being my long head tendon. Okay. So I kind of worked out through it. Youth was on my side. Mm-hmm. And now it ain't really that. You know what I mean? So
youth ain't on your side no more.
Yeah, it's not. You either.
Man, my shit be creaking.
Yeah, yes, sir. You get up in the morning, stuff feel a little different. But the diet, to your point, bro, is important. So when I did the intermittent fast, I did the same thing 16 a day. I started at 2. Mm-hmm. And I actually did this, I went on this little rabbit hole because I saw that Terry Crews, he posted this video on social media. So I interviewed him. You showing out over there on the cigar smoke, huh?
You know, some of us are the same thing. When I did that with him, he's like,
yeah, I'm not that wrong with the cigar yet.
Years of practice, man.
Yeah. You actually got me into the cigars too, bro. So on the podcast and the cigars. So, but with the intermittent fasting, man, I like I said, started at 2, stopped eating at 10, and then sleep, get up in the morning, work out. But now I'm just trying to cut this weight because I ended up getting up to 224, and I never weighed more than
yeah, that's heavy for your size.
Heavy, bro.
Your body type.
Yeah, heavy. So I'm down now. So I've been actually working out. You know, I train. So I've been back at it on the training side for myself, and so it's going cool, man.
Yeah.
It's going cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to lead in with your most recent endeavor, man. Sparks of Flames. Now, Now you're a PT, you're a personal trainer.
Yeah, I'm a PT. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did that become a thing for you, man? Because I remember just getting the invite.
Yeah.
For the Instagram channel, oh, there's a PT now.
Yeah. Been doing it for a while, but it consists of personal training, athletic training, motivational speaking, and yeah, man. So I've had the opportunity to train some guys. You know, seeing some results really fast. Some gals too. Yeah. You know,
everything you're great at.
Yeah, man. I love it, man. I love fitness, man. I've been kind of in fitness since literally probably I was 18. You know what I mean? So prior to that, I was.
You're always athletic, though.
You know, sports, bro. Yeah, you know. So y'all don't know, Ian and I've been knowing each other since elementary school. So we've been cool since then. Yeah. So it's been you old. Yeah, you old, but so I'm talking trash, but you.
I got grades.
I do too, bro. Look, I got them up here. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the grades, though. If I'm honest, I'm looking forward to it.
I love it.
But yeah, so I've been in the fitness, man. Like I said, I've been playing ball since I was a little kid. Muni league, all the way up to high school. Really couldn't stay eligible in middle school, but I didn't really play, ball and run track until high school, and then after that, play ball in college from the John Carroll.
Yeah, you was chasing skirt women.
A little bit. Yeah. You know how we do.
That's how it goes, man.
Yeah.
When you're ineligible, usually it's either because you don't want to apply yourself or you're just distracted by other things.
That's it. You know what, man? For me, with the eligibility, I never was I'm not going to say things are different now, but coming up, education in my household, it wasn't really push. It was more so do your homework, make sure you do your homework.
Right.
But it wasn't really anyone sitting down with me.
Do what you gotta do to get through.
Yeah. And my mom is
at an athletic scholarship.
That's it. That's it. It's all about football. It wasn't really like, hey, you're a student athlete.
Right.
So that's what I like push now with athletes, is that you're a student first, athlete second. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
it's what's the ratio for people that go pro?
Man. It's like 3%, bro. Like 3 to 1%. You know what I mean? And so for most kids,
assuming you don't get hurt, before you go pro, man. Like we know. Plenty of cats.
That's actually what happened to me. So I ended up getting hurt.
Yeah.
So I actually had in college. I ended up getting 2 sports hernias. So I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what the hell it was initially. I just knew that my groin was hurting really bad. Yeah. Every time I walked, I felt it. Anytime I got in and outside of my car, I felt it, and I didn't know what it was. Yeah. And I tried to just push through it, play through it, and it just intensified. It was like, man, what the heck is this? Right. And I remember the team doctor came in when I was at John Carroll, and he's like, maybe put like an icy hot pad on it. So I played with an icy hot pad on. I would ice it. And they did like the stem, like the electric. So they put that on me. Yeah. And it just got worse. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Yeah. And so he's like, man, maybe you may have like a sports hernia. I'm like, what's a sports hernia? Right. And he's like, Jeremy Shockey. I'm like, yeah, Jeremy Shockey. He's like, Jeremy Shockey had a sports hernia. Donovan McNabb had a sports hernia. And so he's like, maybe we'll get you an MRI and see what it is. So I ended up getting an MRI, and I found out I had a really bad sports hernia. And so I tried to continue the season, couldn't continue the season. So I think I played probably like my first season. I played probably like 6 or 7 games. And then I got the surgery right after the season ended. Then I came back next year. I played. I actually came back too soon. I should have redshirted. You know what I mean? And I didn't redshirt, and I ended up overcompensating the one side and getting another sports hernia. So then I overcompensated the right side. I ended up catching the sports hernia on the left side. And this time when I caught the second sports hernia, they had to clip my adductor tendon, my adductor tendon. So it ended up pretty much just ending my career. And I remember last game of the season, actually last 2 games of the season, they put me at running back. So I actually really enjoyed it, bro. I was like 192 pounds. And Armando, my brother played running back, and then my godbrother played running back too. So Rebere Sparks played, and Rashawn Stover. And I always kind of like wanted to like dive into the running back space. And so they put me at running back. And I remember at the end of the game, it was really like this. It was like this brawl. It was like this team brawl. So it was we were fighting the other team. Okay. You know what I mean? And obviously everybody was salty because we ended up losing the game. Yeah. But we were salty, and I remember going into the locker room. I remember crying. I'm sitting in my locker, and I'm crying. And my offensive coordinator came to me. You remember Mr. Dosiato? Yeah. So Mr. Dosiato was actually my offensive coordinator. No shit. At John Carroll, yeah. So he was my
Yeah, Mr. Dosiato was like my kindergarten gym.
Yeah. So those
spicy Italian.
Yeah, just smooth. Yeah. So those was always cool, smooth dude. Yeah, just Italian, just Rebere, what are you doing? What you got going on? So that's dope. So I'm like this dude. Rebere, let me tell you. So I'll never forget, man. He came to me. I'm sitting in my locker and I'm crying. And the reason I'm crying, I remember having a conversation with one of my guys I played on the team with, named Mark. And he was saying about it, but he had that the sports hernia ended his career. And so I remember sitting there in the locker, I'm crying, and I'm like, and Do's like, dude, did you see how you were? He came down, kneeled down. Did you see how you were running back? You see the look on their face, like when you come back next year, like it's gonna be. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm not coming back next year. I can't play anymore. I'm done. Yeah. My body is like, because they had already scheduled the surgery. Yeah. So I'm crying because football is over for me. I'm like, it's over for me. It's like I can't come back. And so I ended up having surgery. They put the mesh in me. Obviously, I had a tendon clip, and then that was a wrap for me, bro. And then I ended up transferring, finishing my degree at Cleveland State. And yeah, man. So I've been involved in sports. I worked at Bally's, at a young age, and I worked at Urban Active Fitness. Then, yeah, man, just always loved the game of sports, and loved anything about fitness. So I went through a few things. We talked about And it was like awakening for me. It was like, man, I really love this. I'm passionate about this.
Yeah.
You know, and so I said I want to kind of like get involved with the youth. I want to get involved with just athletes coming up, student athletes.
Yeah.
And while I'm young, you know what I mean, and it can move still, why not like get in, train? And then with adults, like I'm a father and I got little ones, right? So I think, especially in the Black community, health is extremely kind of like, it's important, but it's not one of those things that's like take it serious.
Yeah, it's not stressed until like it's kind of too late.
It's not
like
too late.
A problem you can't correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, I'm like wherever I can help out to like, you know, to your point, like you know me to be a fitness guy. You know me to be athletic, right? I can talk to anybody. I love people, so people aren't afraid to come to me like, look, bro, I want to get in shape.
Yeah.
Come on, let's do this together. Even if I just quick start you,
Right.
if it's just like 1 or 2 weeks. And we just, I meet you at the gym and I walk you through a workout. I'm encouraging you.
Right.
And now I got you there and then the rest is on you. You know what I mean? It's been times I didn't train cats and didn't charge them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm getting up with them like, bro, why you leaving at the gym, bro? I ain't any problem. It's okay. Your health is important to me.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? I understand if you ain't got the bread right now. It's cool. I wanna make sure you're taken care of, bro.
Yeah, I should have hit you like 5 years ago.
But no, you're doing good though. You're doing good.
It's a journey, man. It's a marathon with me, man. Like this is like to get to this point took me about maybe 3 or 4 years. You know, like to find like the kind of like the mix that works because it's like it's all tailored to the person, right? Like it's like about diet, you know, doing what's right for your blood chemistry, you know, and also like what agrees with your body, like in your muscle structure and everything. I tried a bunch of different stuff. I remember I'm one of the few people I know that lost weight during the pandemic, ironically, man.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people were like blowing up like balloons.
Yeah, that's wrong. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I canceled my gym membership after like 3 or 4 years because it just wasn't doing anything for me. I realized I was going to the gym maybe 3 or 4 times a month. You know, and it was such a hassle because I'd have to wake up extra early, drag myself to the gym, and get maybe an hour or so to like actually work out. And it just wasn't. There were a lot of times where I was like, okay, I woke up too late, or it's too cold outside, or whatever those excuses are, and it just wasn't happening. So like in November of 20, I just said, you know, I chuck this just gym membership. It ain't doing it for me. And a friend of mine I knew, he was telling me about calisthenics. So I figured, you know, just home workouts. I'm like, let me try that. So I started like small. I started like running in place in my basement, you know, for like a mile or 2 or whatever, to build myself up because I knew eventually I wanted to start jogging because Travis was actually the one that told me.
Yeah,
he was the one that told me like, man, like I see what you're doing, man, but you need to start like running.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
No, you need to start running, bro. You lose a lot of weight, man.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I heeded that like a year later, but I heeded that.
Yeah.
And I started just like jogging around my neighborhood like real slow, just at like a little, you know, nice little pace that I could maintain or whatever. And then before I know it, I was banging out like 2 or 3 miles, and it wasn't like a big deal. It's kind of like the same addiction like I had with like when I started biking, because that was where my weight loss journey started with was biking, because I could go 10, 20, 30 miles.
I remember you. Yep.
Yeah, so like the cardio was there, but it wasn't doing anything for my upper body. You know what I'm saying? Because like, my legs were like looking great, but the rest of me was still muscle mafia. Yeah, it was like a blob with like legs. You know?
Yeah.
So I got into the cardio a bit, and you know I started to find like the right mix with diet and everything. I went to see a dietitian, gave me like some recommendations of what I should stick to. I didn't stick to it all the time. But I started getting into liquid meals like superfoods and stuff like that. I got a NutriBullet, so like frozen fruit mixed with like oat milk or coconut milk as a base or whatever. And then I got into whey protein. You know, so like I finally got to the point where like, okay, my first meal of the day will be liquid. Maybe the second meal will be liquid. Then I'll eat whatever I want to eat, like in the evening or whatever. And you know, it's still I'm still finding my way through it, but like I've had some success with that and like fasting here. So yeah, you do what works for you. Yeah,
man. And you know, I'll tell you too. I just have to tell you this now, just hearing what you're telling me. But the more muscle you have in your body, the more fat it's gonna burn off. You know that, right? So, like with your calisthenics, if you can kind of incorporate some push-ups, maybe some pull-ups, maybe some dips, maybe if you get like some really lightweight, you don't have to do heavyweight. You can just get some lightweight.
I got the TheraBand bow.
That's perfect. Yeah.
I bought one of those just for like my lats and everything.
That's perfect. Yeah.
I got the perfect push-up. I got an ab roller. You know, so that's kind of like my regimen. And I do yoga on occasion.
Nothing wrong with that, bro. Yeah. So you're doing great, man. You are doing great. Yep.
Just drink as much water as possible.
Right. Yeah. And whiskey. I see.
Yeah. Yeah. It's in the mix.
Yeah.
It's in the mix. Yeah. For sure.
No doubt.
For
no
sure.
doubt.
Cool. So you just like obviously like what got you into it was just like you reached a point in your life where you just want to do things that bring you joy, especially like after like the ordeal you went through personally over in recent years. So that's like a great story, man. You hear it all over the place where people that go through those kind of experiences and they finally come out on the other side, and then for the most part things are settled, and then you just realize like, okay, life is too short to to be unhappy.
Right.
Let me do things that bring me joy, and yeah,
real life. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, and I think, man, actually, this probably sound weird, but I'm actually kind of grateful what happened in my situation, because if that didn't occur, I probably wouldn't be doing anything that I'm doing now. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't have met the people that I've met. I would never been on your podcast.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be doing the training.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be in CMSD. I wouldn't be doing motivational speaking. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have kind of like the heart that I have. Nah, it was there, but it was like that hard thing woke it up.
It sucks going through the process.
Yeah.
But you always appreciate it more once you finish up and tie it off, man.
Yeah.
Like, I remember somebody was telling me like, when I was going through something last year, it's like, you know what, you're just gonna have to recognize that this is the process, and you have to embrace the suck.
Yeah.
The suckiness of it.
True life.
And you're not gonna like it all the time, but it will. There is a light at the end of that tunnel.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And you can't see it going through it. You don't see it.
Oh,
you just
man,
don't. It don't make sense to you.
I was not feeling it when I was going through it, man.
Yeah. And it's like, man, why am I going through this? But it makes sense, to your point, during the light of the tunnel. You know what I mean? You encounter friends or family that's experiencing the same thing that you went through, and then you're able to like kind of provide wisdom to them or kind of like help walk them through. You know what I mean? And then sometimes it will, in my experience, it kind of made me revisit things that I may have missed. You know what I mean? But it's all for purpose at the end of the day, bro. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I mean, imagine where your life would be if that never happened.
Yeah, I would have been, if I'm honest. You know, I was working for a multi-billion-dollar company. I was doing well. I was coming up through the ranks. I was getting promoted every few months. You know what I mean? And it was like, I was okay with that. Yeah. But then that particular thing that occurred in my life,
the disruption.
You know what I mean? And it was like, man, I didn't know kind of like where to go. And it was like an awakening in me. You know what I mean? Some things kind of like just lie in you, you know what I mean, dormant, and then they get awakened due to the situation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Activated.
That's right, bro. That's right. So for me, I know a lot of people don't know. Probably I know people that watch the cigar talk.
I mean, I want to bring light to it.
Yeah, no doubt. No, it's actually like one of those things to where.
Check out the Blendish podcast.
Check out the Blendish podcast. No doubt.
Anywhere you find podcasts.
That's real life, man. So you can go and find a Blendish podcast on. I wouldn't have Blendish podcast. I'll throw that in.
Yeah.
But you can find it on Stitcher. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. But I went through a divorce.
Yeah.
Went through a divorce, and it was a tough divorce. But it's weird to say this, man. Most people that may be experiencing some hard stuff right now, but it was good for me. It was good for me, because had I not done that or went through that, I wouldn't be doing anything that I'm doing now.
You seem a lot happier now.
Yeah, I am. The other person. But it's like, hey man, we didn't work out, and it didn't work out. So it's like, it doesn't make it like I don't need to hate you, you don't need to hate me. It just didn't work out.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. And you kind of like move on from there. And in my situation, got a beautiful woman. You know what I mean? We go through our thing.
Sure. Like
any other relationship, but I got a beautiful woman. She there for me. You know what I mean? And
she loves your dirty draws too.
She do love my dirty draws. You know what I'm saying? Who said that in the song? Somebody said that in the song.
I don't know, man. I just remember the saying.
Yeah. But no, I'm thankful. I would have never encountered that had I not went through what I went through. So I say that, and I have a line now. I have a clothing line, 828.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
and I actually talk about that when I'm talking with kids. I've had opportunity to speak at a couple schools, couple basketball teams, football teams.
Yeah.
And my message.
Doing that shit. I spoke at a school a couple years
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me that.
I spoke at fourth school.
Yep. I remember you telling me that. But like you can kind of like piece your story together and share with other people.
Yeah, it's really daunting, man, when you're able to like you're reflecting on the time as you're telling the story and you realize I have an incredible story to tell.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so meaningful to the audience, man, to these kids that like they're experiencing all these like feelings and hardships and negative thoughts, you know, for the first time in a lot of cases. And you know, when it hits you for the first time when you're young, you feel like this is life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing beyond this.
Right.
So to see somebody like really describe exactly how you're feeling, so they know you're not shining them on, you're not. You know?
Right.
It resonates. So it turns out that one of the kids I was speaking to, because it was like this was a school like out in the middle of freaking nowhere. That's specific to kids with like mood disorders and stuff like that. And it turns out that I worked with one of the kids' parents actually in my other life. And he came to me at work and said like, "Yo, my kid told me that you spoke at her school, and it was one of the greatest things she ever witnessed." You know, so that was really humbling. You know?
Yeah. And like I say, man, like people in general just love transparency. Like if you can be transparent, bro, like people can like. It's almost in a certain way like acceptance, right? Like I'm not the only one that's experiencing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think as life goes on and people understand it, you're not the only one experiencing. Like there's nothing really, if I'm honest, nothing unique about your situation. It's just people don't talk about it.
Nothing new under the sun.
Yeah, it's nothing new. So it's not like I get it. You went through some hard stuff, or I get it. You're experiencing some hard stuff, but there's somebody else that either went through worse or going through what you're going through, so you can get through this. You understand what I'm saying? And when you're speaking with kids, they just love to hear that, like your story, right?
Yeah.
They love to hear that I'm not the only person that I'm bad, or people view me in a certain way, or I did X and I did Y and I did Z.
And I deliver it in a really genuine way, like, because you know sometimes these schools bring these motivational speakers that are just like extra, and they're not all that relatable a lot of the time.
Right.
You know, like I don't really hold my tongue and kind of speak the way I speak to anybody.
Right.
You know, in that same kind of vernacular. And it connects, somehow connects. And this is me, like, talking to a room full of, like, white kids with, like, mood disorders. You know,
it's real life.
And they got it. Yeah. Connected.
Right.
You know, and I was able, and it was great to be able to do it full circle, to be invited by a guy who was my teacher back in high school, and now he's the principal of this place. And he's like, I think you have a great story, man. If you have time, come in and, just talk to the kids. And I'm like, yeah, man, let's do it.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful.
It is, man. And then you kind of start to like appreciate life experiences when you see that what you went through, it's kind of like you can provide or shine light, to a situation or provide some type of wisdom, and you're helping someone off what you've experienced, what you've been through. We went to Taylor Academy, bro. We went to an alternative school.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not like
all the alternative schools.
At one point in time, I was ashamed of that. Like, I went to TA. But until I'm talking to a kid that's like...
And if I was smart, I would have stayed there.
For sure.
Man.
Yeah, I spent 2 years there. You know what I mean? So it was like... And I'm thankful for it. At the time, I'm like, man, I gotta go to TA. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, how is this gonna look?
That's where all the thugs go.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, looking back at it now, I'm working with kids in CMSD. Troubled kids, you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, cool. So not all of them are trouble, but I'm able to speak to kids and I'm able to like connect and relate with them because I've been there. So something that was one point in time in my life shameful, I'm not proud of it. Like, look, man, I went here, man. That's what I learned, and I can tell you, like, you can become this from that. Yeah. Because I've experienced that.
Yeah, and really, it was a better academic experience, like in hindsight.
Oh, for sure.
So, because going off the heights after that, it was like night and day.
It was, man. It was. Taylor was more so like intimate. Everybody knew everybody. The educators that were there, they really cared. I'm not saying the teachers at high school care. I definitely could tell you multiple teachers.
The PA kept it a buck.
Oh yeah, like, look, man, you
kept it a buck. Mr.
Yeah,
Booker, Mr. Sack.
Yeah, my man, Mr. Marshall.
Mr. Marshall.
Mr. Jacobs.
Sick ass jumper, man.
Sit down, son. Mr. Sparks. Mr. Sparks, let me talk to you, Mr. Sparks. Where you at in class? You know what I mean? And it's like, and Mr. Jacobs know how to talk to you like in a very like You know, it was a correction, but it was gentle. It was like, I gotta respect Mr. Jacobs.
Yep.
And I don't even remember Miss Murphy.
Oh, Murph, man.
Miss Murphy.
Yeah,
and
she kept it up. Wow.
She did. She wasn't playing with you. She didn't put you out of her class. You acting a fool.
Right.
She wanted to just let you just act a fool in her class. But
you with this bad crap.
That's it. Get out of here. Yeah, like get it together. But when you look back to your point, when you look back at it, like, man, I appreciate that, man. I'm thankful for that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And had we not went there, bro, we wouldn't be experiencing the stuff or the success we experience now. You know. Yeah. And so I like to tell people, man, don't be ashamed of where you at. That's kind of where the 828 comes from. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what you go through or what you experience, it's all gonna work. It's all gonna work for your good. Right. You know what I mean? It's gonna all work out. You can be in the lowest of the lows. You can be in the highest of the highs. You know what I mean? But everything is gonna work for your good, no matter where you are. You know what I mean? So that's normally the message I'm giving when I'm talking to kids. Man, keep going, no matter what it is. Keep pushing. Move forward. You're not perfect. That's a beautiful thing about you. You're imperfect. You know what I mean?
So you touched on Blendish a little bit, man. Talk to us about Blendish, man. Like what that is.
So Blendish is a podcast. Myself and my lady Katie. You know, on IG, she's it's KGT with her little cute self. She needs to stop. You know, she probably needs an opera. So that's her podcast and mine, and we have the Blendish podcast. The idea of Blendish came from, you know, I've done like lives, you and I did a podcast. And one day she's like, yeah, maybe we should do like a little thing together. And I'm like, nah, I'm cool on that. You know, she's like, no, come on, like, let's just try it. I'm like, no, I'm cool. Yeah. And then one day we were just sitting, we were just chilling, we having a great conversation. She's like, let's record it. I'm like, all right, we can record. So we record on the phone. Right. And then we play it back. I'm like, this actually is pretty good. Yeah. You know, and she initially wanted to call it like the Blended Bunch. Yeah. And I'm like, well, why don't we call it Blendish? You know what I mean? She's like, yeah. So we agreed. You know, it was dope. And it was like, yeah, let's do this. And we were both excited. So she went out. She bought all this podcast equipment. She's doing research. And I'm like, oh, this is dope. And so we pretty much talk about, you know, I was married and divorced. She was married and divorced. She has a daughter. You know, I have 3 kids. You know what I mean? It's like we're not married right now. So it's like we're not blended, but we're blendish. You know, you see the skit Jamie Foxx talk about people being crackish. Yeah. He's like, I'm not saying you're a crackhead, but you're very crack-ish. Yeah. Like you do like crack-ish things. And he was talking about, you gotta see it. So
I was playing like the blackish.
Yeah, blackish. That's what we got, right? So we played on like, you know, we blended, but we not really blended. So it's like we're kind of like blendish. Yeah. But we talk about, you know, you've listened to it, bro. We talk about marriage, divorce. We talk about raising kids. We talk about relationship stuff. Couples therapy, bro. You know what I mean? We still in couples therapy. We go through it. You know what I mean? We go through it, and I think that's a dope thing because you kind of like learn to love the person. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where they at? You know, we both been through some tough stuff, and then like stuff collide, and it's like how we get through this. You know what I mean? Like how do we get through this? And we go through regular stuff, and you can be at the height of. You can be at the height of the relationship, and you can also be at the low of the relationship, but you appreciate it all, if that makes sense, right?
I absolutely understand it.
Right, and I think what I actually really enjoy is that we can just keep it real like that. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you like, oh man, relationship perfect. You know what I mean? Oh we golden.
Nah, man.
Absolutely not.
A couple episodes, it got spicy.
Oh, we get spicy on that puppy. You know what I mean?
On your ass.
Oh, definitely on my ass. so and she still me, but you know what I mean. So, but the thing of it is, man, I tell you this, man. In this relationship in particular, I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about women. Yeah. You know, I've learned so much about just life in this relationship. You know what I mean? And I, as I'm thinking about it even now, I'm so thankful for our couples therapist, man. She's so raw. You know, it's funny. She's a white girl, redhead, but she just get life and she just get us. You know what I mean? And I could be in one. Yeah. I could be at one point in my life where I don't like you. You know, her. But then at the same time, I can bounce back like, I love this girl. You know what I mean? Yeah. Through this, and she can be the same way. Like I can't stand this fool.
Yeah, it helps you peel back the layers. It helps a lot with like your self-identification.
Your life.
And also, like couples therapists in particular, like they help you mediate, like and find like those cracks in the communication gaps.
That's real life.
It's like, because we as men kind of like we communicate a certain way, and we communicate a completely different way, and how we interpret information is just so different.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, so it's good to have somebody kind of like bridge the gap.
Yeah, like somebody that's kind of like, she's just neutral. She's just like, I don't, I care about you, and I care about you because I'm your therapist, but I'm not looking on winning for you or for you. I'm looking to win for y'all.
Right.
So I'm going to tell you when you're wrong, and I'm also going to tell you when you're wrong. You know what I mean? And say, okay, I'm going to tell you when you're right. But it's like, obviously the goal is to work out. Yeah. Right.
Well, so it helps your partner understand you better.
Yeah.
Too, man.
Right. That's real too, because it was things that I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I never even knew that. Or, oh, wow, that's new to me. Or, wow, how did I miss that? Oh, wow, that's so simple. Went over your head. And I think that couples therapy, like even in a relationship, couple therapy is important. And also individual therapy is important. Like I take some of the stuff that I go through in couples therapy to my individual therapist. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? Like, hey, this is what happened. You know what I mean? Help me with this because I want to get better here. You know what I mean? And then I have a therapist, man. She, older white lady, my personal therapist, she's an older white lady. And she's like, Rebere. She's like this sweet old white woman. And how I picture her, I'm like, you probably like in your 70s, probably smaller than for real. And she's talking like, yeah, I'm in my 70s, I'm smaller than for real. But she just understands life. And she's not afraid to tell me the real about me. And again, I would have never encountered any of this had I not went through that hard stuff.
Yeah, my therapist is like a white guy in his 30s.
I think therapy. If you don't have a therapist or you're not in therapy, don't feel ashamed about going to therapy. We all need it. It's so important.
Yeah, just book 3 appointments. Take it from there. If you don't like it, then you don't have to rock with it. And if you find some value in it, then pursue it.
You know, before your daughter was here, you were never a black male married, right? With a kid. That was your first time being a black male married with a kid, right? So like, as we kind of like go through these like different levels in life, it's your first time doing that. So you need some type of guidance, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, and don't expect to like get all the answers either, because like I thought I was so enlightened.
Right. No doubt, we all do.
After a few years of therapy, then I had I had an awakening, in recent time where I was like, oh, I'm not quite as enlightened as I thought. It's a lifetime thing, man. Just like self-discovery and self-betterment. We're all works in progress.
That's it. But
so, how many episodes of Blood does she got out right now?
So right now we have 12. We're working. We got a lot of content, bro. We got a lot of content. Right now we actually gonna start a YouTube now. We didn't have a YouTube prior. Yeah. We're just on like the major platforms outside of YouTube. So so Katie, I don't know if you know this about Katie, but she's like very she's almost like a contractor. She's like a carpenter almost. She likes to do like DIYs and all that stuff. Okay. So she had this grand idea, and I'm like, cool, like go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? And we're gonna do that. But she's like revamping some stuff in her crib, and then we're gonna really push out doing this. The thing is, every time I see someone that's hurt, cause you will have a podcast, like you have a podcast. Yep. And you're not sure people are listening to it, and you will run into somebody that's like, hey man, you still doing your podcast? Yeah. So, bro, I'll be at the store and I'm talking to somebody, hey man, your podcast, man, are y'all still doing it? Right. And so it's like, oh wow, like people are really paying attention to it. Right. And so we
it's such a weird thing because like you look at the engagement, you look at the numbers, and you're like, I got a audience, but it's not like, it's not all that. But then when people like reach out to you,
oh for sure, it's weird, man. People,
like, why don't you share my shit?
Weird like that. It's like, look, bro,
watch you and they don't like the video, they don't share it or whatever.
But they watch you. It's like, bro, you see it and it's helping you and you are engaged. So why not share it? Why not post it? Why not tell other people about it? It's not gonna hurt you to share my stuff. It's really not. It's not gonna make you less of a man or less of a woman to be like, hey, check this out. Your podcast, though, bro. You done have some great individuals on here, some awesome stories. You have an awesome story, and it's like, bro, like, why not share it? Like, why not share it? Why not invite people to it? Like, it's weird, but that's a whole other subject.
Yeah, but we're moving though, man. Like,
that's it.
Yeah, it's a marathon, as they say.
That's it, bro. So yeah, but every time I'm like in a grocery store, I'm somewhere, somebody's like, hey, y'all still doing that podcast? But we've over the past year, we've kind of like been through so much. We've experienced so much. We've had the highs, we have the lows. It's so much content that we have to like provide at this moment, and when it comes, it's definitely gonna be dope.
I'm similar thing with me, man. I'm sitting on like at least 9 or 10 podcasts that I've not released that I've been recording since November.
Release some joints, man. Stop playing.
Man, editing, it takes a lot.
Yeah, you do it all yourself too.
Yeah.
See, shout out to Katie because she do all of that.
It is a process, man. It takes so much time, and for me personally, like, I don't know about you, man, but I can't. It's hard for me to sit there and listen and watch myself.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, man, who wants to listen?
I hate listening to myself, man. I hate it, man, with a passion.
And to go over it with a fine tooth comb
I hate it,
like
bro.
that.
You better than me.
I be editing out more of my shit than I do the guests.
Oh yeah.
So then I'm like, wait. People like hearing you talk. Just because you don't like hearing yourself talk doesn't mean people don't want to hear it.
I hate it, man. I really do hate it. Katie, when we do the podcast, she'll listen to this. I'm like, no, I don't want to hear me. She'll just listen. I'm like, no, I can't listen to me. I just can't. You know what I mean? So I choose not to. I'd rather just put it out. Once you put it out. I have yet, if I'm honest, I have yet to listen to any of our podcasts. Okay. You know what I mean? And simply because I don't like hearing myself.
Like, what's next for you, man?
What's next? Yeah, so now, man, I've been kind of like dabbling into like t-shirts, right? So I always get like these ideas, but again, I was always like afraid to like push them out. Simply,
ain't nobody gonna give me no money for this.
Yeah, you know, you doubt yourself. You like, man, anybody gonna be interested in
all
this?
the time with this thing, man.
Yeah, so I got a guy I'm working with, man. I really like working with people that are kind of like up and coming. You know what I mean? That are kind of like humble. And you can talk to them, and they're not like on their high horse. So I'm dealing with a couple cats, man. They're super dope, and you know, do my flyers, do my designs, and I'm like, I love working with people like you, to where we kind of like need each other. Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's beneficial.
Absolutely. So I'm working with a couple cats, man, that I love dealing with them. I just love dealing with them because it's no I'm better than you better than me, or you gotta come to me for this. It's like, nah, I like dealing with you because you know we both trying to reach a place. And I'm a guy like, if you're doing something dope, I'm not gonna be intimidated about what you got going on, bro. I want you to succeed just as much as I want to succeed.
The podcast I promote on this joint, man.
It's why I know you do. And it's like, bro, like,
I love
you know, right? So like for me, I'm working with these cats right now. I'm doing the t-shirts. Yeah. You know what I mean? I probably got like maybe 15 t-shirt ideas right now that are in the work, and I got my Don't Skip Leg Day shirt. People are really loving it. It's crazy because
I saw that.
That, so I was like, man, should I push this out? And I ended up doing it. And Cat's like, oh, let me get one of these shirts. I asked my him from Australia about this shirt. Like, look, like, hey, I need this shirt. People from Atlanta, other states, just like in the U.S., like, hey, I want this shirt. You know what I mean? So I finally actually did a video myself. Just put a shirt on and did it, man. But Cat's really loving it, man. So stay tuned on that. I got some more t-shirt ideas coming out. You know, the Blended Podcast, growing and Sparks and Flames when it comes to the speaking and the training. You know, I have an event coming up within actually this month, and I'm gonna be pushing that out. It's gonna be a football camp. You know, I do a camp. I set up a camp on Martin Luther King Day, so MLK Day, and it was more than an athlete. So I had pushed it out there. I partnered with a homeless foundation called Project Save. Okay. And what I'm doing is having athletes bring in like gently used clothes, toiletries, feminine products, put it in a U-Haul, and we go dish out to families. But at the same time, we do, you know, training. So we do footwork, we do speed training, we do conditioning. You know what I mean? So got that going on, and I had an opportunity to partner with some other cats, man, in the Cleveland area, and it's been dope, man. It's been dope. So I'm like excited to see, you know, what's gonna come next. You know, I just kind of like got in this position now where I'm like, I'm just gonna trust God on everything, and then just whatever comes, you know, don't say no to any opportunity that may be beneficial to me, even if I'm like nervous about it. I'm gonna just shoot to it. You know what I mean? Because I spent early 30s, all of my 20s afraid of opportunity. You know what I mean? I just gotta grind, bro. You know what I mean? And I actually do life insurance, so I'm a life insurance broker. Yes. You know, so I had a guy approach me when I was 18 years old. Like, dude, I can tell you love people. People love you. You need to get in life insurance. And I know back then he wanted to do it for the benefit of like what I mean, right? So then as I kind of like experienced like death with family members, friends, and you see, you know, GoFundMes, people doing chicken dinners, fish dinners, just dinners, and they don't have any money to bury their family. I'm like, bro, like, this is important for our community. Like, we need to do it. So
with famous people too, man. Like Dick Gregory, he died broke.
he did. And then what's my guy name? I saw somebody do a voiceover the other day on what was it called? I got the hook up. AJ Johnson.
Yeah.
AJ Johnson. So he didn't have life insurance, and it's like we got this big misconception that life insurance is so expensive, but you're really paying for generational wealth.
Right. Even Tupac, man.
Right.
He had $7,000 in his bank account when he died.
Bro, you got a family member paying $25 a month for IUL or some type of whole life or term insurance, and it changed the whole trajectory of your family's, just your family. Somebody passed, and then they have, the person that passed had $1 million policy or $500,000 policy or $250,000 policy, and that will change the whole dynamic of your family.
If something happened to me tomorrow, man, this house is paid for.
You feel what I'm saying? Right?
My girls are straight. You feel me?
And that's right, and that's admirable, and that's responsibility. Yeah. That's you not being afraid to like gain some understanding, some knowledge in a particular area that you knew nothing about prior to having a family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I remember when I was married, I had my first kid, I got life insurance policy. I was 25. I didn't get life insurance policy, right? Because something happens to me, I'm the breadwinner. I don't want to leave this earth with my kids, and at the time, wife like, what do we do? And there's so many situations like that. All you gotta do is talk to somebody that's got life insurance. It ain't gotta be me. It can be somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Like, but learn about it, educate yourself in it, and then like get it. You know what I mean? Even if you cutting out Chipotle once a week, you can get a policy for $25. You get a policy for $10. You get a policy for $50. You can get policies, man. That if something happens to you, you're leaving some type of like wealth. And people ain't gotta worry about how they gonna bury you or what's gonna happen with this car note, what's gonna happen with this house. You know what I mean? To your point, like something happened to you, your wife and your daughter are set. The house paid for, cars, they good, ain't gonna run no debt that you're good. You know what I mean? And all you gotta do is have the conversation. And be like, look, bro, you can get this policy for X, Y, Z. Like, really? I didn't even know that. I know you didn't know it because you didn't seek out.
Right. Well, to be fair, like none of our OGs told us about.
Absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not.
My father never told me about life
absolutely
insurance.
Not. Never had a conversation with my father about life insurance. Never had a conversation with my mother about life insurance. Never was like, hey son, when you get this age, you need to get life insurance. Never had that conversation.
I think that's a good segue into what you wanted to discuss about pops. All right, so you had a story about your pops.
Yeah. So my dad, I hadn't talked to him since the last time I spoke about it on the podcast on Blemish. So this was like probably about a year. Last time we spoke.
Yeah. Remember when you and I spoke about it, you were like kind of on the fence about, mending those fences.
And he and I had went to a cigar lounge and we had some cigars.
Tremont
we went to Tremont. Yep, we went to Tremont. We had a cigar, and he used to drink Jack Daniels. Like, he was a Marine, so he drank Jack. So I'm like, yeah, bro, you want to meet up? Like, we can drink some Jack and smoke a cigar. And he's like, yeah. So we met, but we haven't spoken since then. But I wanted to share with you. I had a buddy. He had watched the Blenders podcast. And what he said was, I was talking to, kind of like what I just told you, that I reached out to my pops. Hey, you want to meet up? Let's go smoke a cigar and drink some Jack, just chill and just talk. And he and I talked all night, my dad and I. We actually ended up falling asleep on the phone with each other. Yeah. And so my dude, he like, bro, I watched that episode. This was crazy. And I'm going to tell you why I'm telling this story. So he's like, man, I watched that episode. And he said he was inspired to call his dad. He was like, because he was feeling a certain way, like, dang, bro, like, I haven't spoken to my dad in so long. So he ended up calling his pops. His dad didn't answer. A day later, his dad died. So I ran into him. He like, bro, can you believe this? He told me how he watched the podcast and how it like touched him. And he's like, man, I want to make this relationship with my pops. And his father never answered. His father ended up dying. So I would say this is my encouragement to people. If you have somebody in your life, especially if it's your father or your mother, and they're still around and you want to mend something, reach out to them and don't wait. If you're feeling it, don't make it a thing where you got to hear it on the podcast or hear it on the radio or watch it on TV.
Yeah. You got to be patient with them too.
Yeah, be patient with them. Understand who they are. Reach out to them. If you got to get something off your chest or you like to have a conversation, do that. Don't wait. So I'm not saying he did. Obviously, the podcast touched him. It just so happened his pops passed. But hearing that, it's like, wow, you know, to the point we talking about earlier, like, is my podcast effective? What I'm saying, is it effective? That showed that there was some effectiveness, and he actually reached out, but his pops in the past. So, no, time ain't promised to anybody. You never know when it's somebody's time to go. If it's that deal, reach out to them, say what's up, or hey, I gotta get this off your mind. I don't have like the best relationship with my mother. Okay. You know what I mean? I think she means well, but we don't have like the best relationship, right? Sure. And I got some things that I kind of want to tell my mom, but I don't know if she really receive it. Yeah. So I had somebody tell me like maybe you just need to write your mother a letter. And I had a guy, Cam. He actually was wanting to come on the podcast too, but he, I'm gonna give you his contact. But he told me he had to do that to his mom. He wrote her a letter, and he was like, man, his mother broke down because she never knew that like she affected him to that magnitude. And I think as parents, man, you gotta understand your kids live life because we're resilient as kids. Kids are just resilient in general. Yeah. And we didn't speak up. Like you got some stuff that you and I talked about your pops, right? Yep. And things you want to say, but you don't really know how to communicate them and say them. Yeah. But they're hurting you, affecting you in your personal life, your relationships, you know. And it's like I need to get this off my chest because how I was raised by you, kind of like has controlled how I see life or people. You know what I mean? Yeah. And
you're doing it for yourself too.
Yeah, man.
Because I had that conversation with my old man. I was like 22 or something, where I just had to like sit him down. You know, we met at a neutral spot. You know, we had some beers or whatever, and I got off my chest. And you know, I didn't get exactly like the response I wanted, but I was able to say what I wanted. Yeah. You know, and I felt like released from like that stuff that was kind of like tugging at me. And I've done that with other people too in my life. You know, like don't hold that in.
No, man, you hold it in, man. And then to this point, somebody passes. Now you're holding on to something, and they're gone. No, they're gone. Right. They're gone off this earth, and now you're still dealing with that. Right. When you can really just call them and be like, "Hey, I'm feeling this way."
Yeah. I remember OG of mine told me years ago, man. He lost his father, and they were not on good terms when he passed. And, and he told me, man, like the one regret I have, man, it's like my father died, and I never got a chance to tell him I love him. See, you know, one last time, you know. Yeah,
and you know, I'm probably gonna call. If I'm honest, I'm gonna call my pops too. Yeah. You know what I mean? My brother told me, he like, bro, you know, cause he live in Atlanta, he live in Atlanta, so he like, man, I'm gonna come up there and see dad. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. He and I had this conversation, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm trying to protect my mental health. I may just call you now, cause that's who I am at heart, bro. Yeah. I love people, bro, and I don't even know if I'll be able to live with that. Be like, man, I want you to know I love you regardless. And I think my dad deals with his own personal things to where he can't receive love. Oh yeah. You know what I mean? Hardcore dude. My dad is the oldest of all of his siblings. He kind of played like that father role. Yeah. And he was a Marine. You know.
See things from your perspective when you're a kid. Like,
they don't.
There's stuff that my father, you know, I had told him like some of my experiences as a child, and he had no idea. It's like I wish I would have knew, you know, like I didn't know. I was always out working and doing this and that. I'm like, well, they happened, you know, and we're still here, and I'm still living, and I'm still, you know, I was able to find my way through that. But that those things happen. Yeah. You know. And
to your point, like as parents, like with my kids, I try to be like as connected as I can. I realize, like we were talking about earlier, like I'm a man, I deal with different things. Like I wear so many hats, but my kids are important to me, and it's like making them know, like, hey, you're important. You know what I mean? And anything you want to say to me, just say to me. You know what I mean? If you feel I'm doing a certain thing you don't like, tell me. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you feel I'm great in an area, tell me that. If you feel like I'm missing you, tell me, man. I love you, man. Like I want you to
it's
like.
It's difficult for children to express that because they don't have the tools. You
know? Because kids too. Think about being a kid. You don't know if you really have a voice. You're like, man, do I have a voice? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we were kids. We really didn't have a voice.
Yeah. So shut up. Right. Do what you need to do and stay out of my way. You know what I mean? Don't bother me. And it's like, damn, I kind of
stop eating all the ice cream sandwiches.
I just love ice cream sandwiches, bro. I'd say this in my early 20s, bro. I love them M&M ice cream. You ever had M&M ice cream sandwich?
I'm sure I have at some point.
Yeah, I love ice cream sandwich. But yeah, man, like kids, you kind of like gotta let kids know that they can be heard. You know, that's actually one of the things I learned from Katie with her daughter. Mm-hmm. Like her and Kyle, like she wants to create this space to where they can just freely talk. Yeah. They can just freely talk. Yeah. And like if you meet Kai, she's like, I think she belongs on television. You know what I mean? And she like so she got personality on. When I first met her, I'm like, girl, you're supposed to be on TV. Yeah. You know what I mean? And she's like, she's a kid, and she's just like, is who she is, and it's like this is pretty dope. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I actually admire that piece of Kate that she can actually like build a relationship with her kids, and I developed that with my kids. Like, look, man, like. Talk to me, you know what I mean? Like, I'm dad. I'm not a friend, but I am. I want you to be able to come to me and talk to me about anything. But I understand as a kid, you kind of really can't, you feel like you can't tell your parents everything. Yeah. But I want to be able to be like, hey, man, talk to me, man.
My daughter's like that, too. She's very expressive. She's telling me, like, you know, Papa, you make me sad when you know what I'm saying? Like, little things like that. And I internalize that so deeply. Yeah. Like, oh, man. What irreparable damage am I doing to this child?
Especially a little girl, bro.
Yeah.
A little girl just like do something to you. Like, I want to be your knight in shining armor. I want to make sure that you're protected. You feel protected.
A lot of the time it's over like trivial stuff, like when I tell her no. You know what I'm saying? But it's still like it's good that it feels comfortable enough to express herself that way to me at that age. Yeah. You know, so I don't want her to lose that.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, man. Like, I never had like the guts to like just tell my father how I felt about everything.
Same.
You know, when I was a child, and you know, I think I always told myself like, well, maybe I don't have the understanding, the supreme understanding of like all.
Or I'm a kid.
Or I'm a kid. You know, like what share of this conversation do I have? Like what dog do I have in this fight for real? You know, children have an uninhibited, unadulterated access to information now.
Yeah.
The way we didn't. You know, when we were kids, like parents had a lot of control.
For sure.
You know, over like what we saw, what we consumed, and we still found a way to get
around
to certain things, but it wasn't at their fingertips. Now it's all at their fingertips, and there's no real way to really put like guardrails around that. Yeah. You know, it's kind of spooky. It's scary.
And it's kind of interesting, like navigating through that space, like because it's new for us, right? And it's like, man, how do I navigate to this space? Like, you want to be a cool dad, but at the same time, you want to protect your kids. You want to make sure your kids like aren't involved in the wrong things,
right?
And
you gotta allow them to make mistakes too.
Yeah,
you know, it's so scary, man, being a parent like in that way.
Yeah. Bro, we talking about being parents, bro. Like, this is wild, bro. Like, we were just at Coventry Playground on the big spot. Yeah, so.
I was just thinking about that the other day. Remember when, what was the one lady that used to reel all us kids in? She'd be like, let's go!
Miss Morrison.
Let's go!
Yeah, Miss Morrison. Miss Morrison, yeah. Wow, bro, I forgot about Miss Morrison.
She had like the haircut.
Yeah, Miss Morrison. She had the glasses.
Yeah,
Miss Morrison. I used to love Miss Morrison. I wonder what's going on with her now.
Yeah. Myself, man.
Yeah, but like you said, man, we get to this adulthood and you just learn so much, man. It's a work in progress, bro. So.
All right. Well, if you guys made it to this the end of this video, by all means, if you haven't put a like in this video, put a like in this video. Yeah. You know, subscribe to the YouTube channel, No Sympathy for Kings. Follow me on social media at No Sympathy for Kings on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I'm everywhere. And, you know, be on the lookout for more content. I appreciate your support, man. Tell them where they can find you, man.
You can find me on Instagram at Rebere Sparks. That's REBERE. Sparks, SPARKS. And then my business page, which is Sparks to Flames LLC on Instagram. If you want to reach out to me at info@sparkstoflamesllc.com. And I have no problem coming in and speaking with youth. Adults, I do customer service training, personal training, whatever it is you want to talk about. If you have any questions about insurance, feel free to reach out to me, man. So, but no, I want to thank you, bro. Commend you, man. Like you killing it, man. I really, I'm actually, I'm honored that you come on this podcast, man. So yeah, it's just dope. I'm really excited to see where you hit it, man. I'll be honest with you, me and Katie and I talk about it all the time, bro. If I've ever met any person that's persistent, consistent, somebody that's like, look, I don't care what it look like, to your point, like, you see 8 views, bro, you at it, you know what I mean? And we watch, bro. You've had some amazing people on here, bro, like Big Hug. You know, me and Hug play ball together.
That was so much fun.
Bro, he got an amazing story too, man. So like,
we got so twisted.
I bet you should Hug. So yeah,
it was a ball. Man.
Yeah, man. So
he wants to come back on too.
Man, put him back on, man. And like I said, I just want to thank you, man. You let people be who they're gonna be. I've never felt judged by you. I've never felt any way or any like ill vibe from you, bro. You know what I mean? Like I said, I appreciate you. I was just on the phone talking to Darren. Remember Darren Gibbs?
Yeah.
I was talking to Darren today, man, and he was saying the same thing. Like, yeah, Ian, what he got going on this dope, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, man. So thank you for having me on the show, bro.
Thank you so much for coming, man. You're always welcome, man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, bro. Yep, no doubt.
Keep doing this. All right, my good people. As always, a lack of discipline may cost you your kingdom. No sympathy for kings. See you later.